I figured I'd start this process. Yesterday, I had another idea for a punk album. Originally, it was going to be like 8 to 10 songs, and then I was like, I don't have enough thoughts in my head right now to get 8 to 10 songs to make a full 30-minute album. So I handled this like I did my Testifier album, where I was like, all right, just make 3 or 4 songs, and it would be a punk rock EP because when I think of like 3, 4 song albums, EPs like that, I think of punk rock because a lot of punk rock bands did that in the 80s. There's like a huge vinyl market for punk rock singles and all those early vinyl mixes with other bands. What are they called? When two bands get together and make a record like that, like a split. Yeah, so like a split EP. But this one's very simple, basic punk rocks though. This first song is what I titled the entire album. Why are you shooting at a cow? Excuse me. I made this doodle because I've been pretty much addicted, obsessed with Instagram the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever. I've just been trying to get as much of my artwork on Instagram to see if it has any positive vibrations. So I used some old stuff and then I made a bunch of new ones. It was also a part of that Trabajo y Sin Mierdas album. When I came up with that concept, I was like, you have to come up with 20 new doodles, black and white doodles. So I did that. So the visual art side of my brain is taking over. At least it has over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I think I came up with some cool stuff. Revisiting old artwork. You could go on my Instagram and check it out. Instagram is cool, but it's also kind of weird. A lot of it's like porn. First, it was all artwork, and then it became more like half naked women showing off their art. So I guess that's still art. So it fits the social media platform. But it's odd. I already got some weird trollish people sending me naked pictures and other shit like that. So I don't message anyone or do that stuff because it's probably a lot of fake people and shit like that. It's another reason social media is weird, but you have to use it for what you want to use it for. I compare it if you're walking down the street and you see some creepy dude in an overcoat and he's like exposing himself, just go the other direction. Go towards the normalcy. So same on social media. You'll come across weird shit. Just ignore it and use it for what you want to use it for. So yeah, Instagram's very addicting, man. It's not even the likes and all that stuff. It's just you constantly want to put stuff on there to make your profile look cool. And it's very addicting. I probably have to take a break next week and just not give up on Instagram, but just take a break from it for a week because it does take over, man. I get really obsessed with it. Anyway, yeah, I'm rambling. I don't want to make these that long because there's only 4 songs, so I'm gonna try to keep this to like 10 to 15 minutes. Hopefully, just 10 minutes each. I'm gonna make 4 different recordings of the songs I've done for this album. It's a punk EP. If you want to check out my other punk EP, I'll link it. It's called Testifier, and it's more NoFX inspired and maybe some Sublime. NoFX, Sublime, I think they were in similar circles, so it kind of makes sense in Southern California, punk rock. I listened to this great podcast with Fat Mike. It's called like Off the Rails or something like that. Apologies, I'll try to give this podcast credit when I share this. But it's called like Off the Rails or something like that. And it's 2 guys who, I think one of the guys is actually from Somerset, New Jersey. And they interview a bunch of punk rock people from, yeah, Going Off Track. Okay, sorry. I wanted to give them credit because I usually forget to do that. Going Off Track is a podcast. You can get it on Spotify or anywhere else. Benny Horowitz and Brad Worrell. They're really good. I listen to a lot of their stuff while I'm doodling and doing stuff. And they had Fat Mike on a couple times, and he was talking about how Sublime pretty much stole one of their songs, that song Seed, letting out in 1980, and it sounds just like Lori Myers used to. I never noticed that ever until he said that. So I think his story, Fat Mike, was that Sublime was going to cover Lori Myers like they did with Bad Religion, and they forgot the lyrics or some shit, so they just made up their own song based on Lori Myers. I thought that was really interesting. It made me feel better because I'm always writing punk stuff, and it's either Dead Kennedys, NoFX, or I don't know, in that vein of Southern punk rock. And it's the same for this album. I'll speak about the first song. I hear Motorhead and I hear Wesley Willis. I'm not a huge Motorhead guy. Like, I do respect the image of the band. It's like one of the coolest frontmen, and I do like some of their stuff. I was going to include Ace of Spades, whatever that album is, on my favorite albums list, but there's like a song called Jailbait, and it kind of weirded me out. But I'll have to revisit, because I do like Motorhead. I think they're one of the coolest logos, and just, I think they're a trio, but I'm not sure. One of the most badass front people. Is Motorhead a trio? Help me Google. Is Motorhead, I can't spell. Is Motorhead a trio? Yes, okay, see, I told you. I love trios, so that's probably why I like Motorhead. They're simple, just... Ace of Spades is one of my favorite songs, like, really is. Motorhead fans will be like, you only know like 2 songs. I know more than that, but that's the one that just totally blew me away a couple years ago. I heard it before, but then I heard it again maybe 5, 6 years ago, and it just, I think I used it to wake up every morning. Ace of Spades. I wrote a screenplay, my favorite screenplay, Elegant Eccentrics, and it was all about that type of mentality, the gambler. I love that song lyrically. It's just a perfect song. It really is. But I'll try to explore the band again, because I would like to include them on my 501 album list, part 2, but I don't want to force anything. Like, I had to revisit Michael Jackson. Eventually, I fell in love with Bad, and I thought Bad was even better than Thriller, so I put Bad on my list. But I don't want to force bands just because they're so popular and they have an iconic stature, which Motorhead does. Lemmy, he was considered like that iconic figure, like that punk rock, even heavy metal. So yeah, very influential band. Even Ween has a song, I think on Quebec, the opener, that sounds like Motorhead. But this first song is called Why Are You Shooting at a Cow? And to be honest, maybe it's also Red Hot Chili Peppers a little, that Coyote song again. I like the early Chili Pepper stuff. It was more funky and punk rock. And there's a song called like Real Men Don't Shoot Coyotes or something like that. When I first heard it on the radio, 88.5 XPN, Philadelphia, I didn't know it was Red Hot Chili Peppers. It was just so different, their 80s stuff. But then I was like, wow, this is awesome. That's the Chili Peppers. And I had to go listen to some of their older stuff. Because I grew up with Blood Sugar and then One Hot Minute, which I love that album. I love both those albums. So yeah, maybe there's a bit of that in this too. But let me sing this first song, and then I'll make separate recordings for the other 3 songs after this. This first song is also the title of the album, Why Are You Shooting at a Cow? It's supposed to be funny, but I guess it's a little bit of my vegan DNA coming out. I don't know. I had to look up the whole fascination with cows, why Indian people think they're sacred, and I get it. Like they do provide milk and nourishment. Those are the first two lyrics of this song. And it's like, why would you ever want to kill a cow? They're just so peaceful. They're like the hippies of farm animals. Pigs are kind of obnoxious, but you know, I don't want to eat pig either. Chickens, I don't know. Do you want to? Do chickens look appetizing when they're running around? I don't know. But I don't know. You see a cow, they're just so peaceful. Like, has anyone ever got attacked by a cow? Maybe if you're cow tipping. But cows just seem like the most peaceful, enlightened people species. They're like the enlightened animal species for some reason. So I didn't think of this because of my vegan. Oh, don't eat meat. Don't eat meat. Meat's murder. I don't think like that. I don't give a shit what people eat. Everyone could do whatever makes them happy as long as it's not really hurting anyone. And vegans that are more hardcore would be like, well, they're hurting the animals. I don't know, man. I'm not going to preach to people about stuff. That's just not in me to do that. I'm non-confrontational, and I really just don't believe that because I ate meat for like 30 years, more than that. Just the last maybe 4 or 5 years, I haven't had any meat or fish or anything, any animal product. And I don't know, it gives me kind of a motivation because people say you can't live without meat, you can't live without bread. I haven't had bread in 4 years. I haven't had meat in like 4 or 5 years, even maybe even longer than that. Even before COVID, because that was the reason I just went totally health crazy. But even before that, I was just eating like chicken and maybe bison, and that was like the only meat I ate. So this is more of a philosophical question of why would you want to eat a cow if you really saw a cow. And I get it. People on a farm are going to eat what they have to eat. So I'm not judging people, man. But it's like cows are just like the way the Indian culture views it. They're just so peaceful and just cool. So maybe that's why these lyrics came out. But they're so simple. These lyrics are so simple just to be the opening track of a stupid punk album. That's all I was really thinking about. But this was inspired by the little silly doodle I did, which I don't know where it came from. It just looked like some weirdo shooting a cow with a blindfold on, and it just morphed into something else. But I'll share the album cover too. This is song one. It's influenced by Motorhead, Wesley Willis, which I talked about before, and he's connected to Jello Biafra too, Dead Kennedys, and Red Hot Chili Peppers. I just thought of them because of the Coyote song. Real men don't kill coyotes or don't shoot coyotes, whatever that's called. This is the basic melody of the verse. They give milk, nourishment. Why are you shooting at a cow? Why are you shooting at a cow? Wish you luck without the wink. Why are you shooting at a cow? Why are you shooting at a cow? I'm trying to do my best punk voice. And then you could do a little like Bad Religion inspired guitar riff there, mini solo like Bad Religion does all the time. And then you go into the chorus, which is spoken word, more mellow. There's no separation anxiety from lunatics. Constipated words regale the crucifix. Is social interaction worth the sex? Darwin remixed to seduce and enlist. Bones danced, alfalfa sprouts. Why are you shooting at a cow? Why are you shooting at a cow? Worship life, death reveals. Why are you shooting at a cow? 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 Just have a hard fade there, hard stop. So yeah, it's barely a 2 minute song. I like the freedom of writing songs like this. I really do like punk rock like this. That's just so stupid and unpretentious. I don't think anyone is going to find my lyrics pretentious because they're so juvenile and they don't really say anything. I'm not trying to judge people. I don't think I come across like that, but maybe some people will look at it like that. But all right, that's song number one. I'm going to try to continue this and get this out today before I move on to other projects. And I guess that's everything. I'm at 15 minutes, so I kind of achieved that goal. And today, just for my own record keeping, is Saturday, April 4th, around noon. And I'll stop it here and I'll do the rest of the album shortly after this.